High Commissioner, education and skill development has become a really linchpin of the relationship right now. Because of reduction in student numbers in the UK and now apprehension over how many of them can go to the US, Australia has emerged as one of the big destinations, and I think 60,000 is
60,000, yeah, that was last year.
Yeah, that's what you told us before the Prime Minister's visit. Is there a scalable target that your government is looking at to attract Indian students to Australia?
We have nearly double the number of students from China as we have from India, but India is the second largest group of students to Australia, and
What is the Chinese number?
It's about 140,000.
140,000?
Yeah. And Australian institutions have a very significant proportion of their student population who are overseas students. Something like about 15%, 15-20%, so it's quite a significant proportion. And it has to do with the model of our institutions. We actually, our universities, our colleges, our training centres are all built with the idea that a proportion of their student body will actually come from overseas. I'm just delighted to see the way the numbers on Indian students are growing. I think people do recognise that Australia provides a really high quality education, in English, flexible learning, which is a hallmark of Australian learning, and the visa conditions for students, this is something that I think some people do know about, are amongst the most generous in the world. So if you come to Australia on a student visa, you can work up to 22 hours a week while you're studying. Your spouse can work full-time while you're studying, so it means your financial concerns can be taken care of. And depending on the qualification you receive, you can stay in Australia for anything up to 4 years after you receive your qualification and continue to work. So what does that mean? You can come back to India with a top-notch qualification and with work experience under your belt. And surely anybody who goes to study wants to be able, it's all about, you know, getting yourself in a good position after that. And we genuinely support that. It's been wonderful. I mean, I think I'd love to see more Indian students go to Australia.
Just one question on that. In about 2009 or 10, there were, of course, a spate of attacks on Indian students in Australia. We've talked about this before, and you know, you did point out that many of those weren't racial in nature; they were law and order breakdown, and that could have happened to anybody. The Australian government did work very hard to counter both the impression as well as the occurrence around these crimes. But now, given the rise of, say, far-right parties like One Nation in Australia, given the rise of impressions about Indians taking away skilled jobs from Australians, 457, contributing in a certain sense to that discourse, what would you say to Indians who might fear, you know, similar attacks all over again?
With respect to the student issues previously and even now, the level of tolerance in our society for these kinds of attacks is actually very low. And the level of tolerance, I think, in any Australian government, be it state or federal, for any kind of racial behaviour or racial attacks is, I think, very close. It's zero. It's zero. We just don't support that sort of behaviour. You see very swift responses from Australian governments whenever something like that happens in the community, and very outspoken responses. Australians just don't like it. So, you know, all of that can coexist with a debate. In any multicultural society, you're going to have a debate at some level about it. And in a democracy, what you do is you allow that debate to play out and you allow that to resolve. Historically, over many decades now, that debate has always resolved in favour of multiculturalism, and I'm very confident that will happen again.